Timeless advice to guide young men. Orations by Isocrates. To Demonicus. In various aspects, Demonicus, we observe significant differences between the principles of virtuous individuals and the attitudes of those with base character. The most notable distinction lies in their approach to friendships. The base honor their friends only in their presence, while the virtuous cherish their friendships even when their companions are distant. The bonds formed by the base can be shattered in a short time, but the friendships of good individuals endure for an eternity. As I believe it is appropriate for those who seek excellence and aspire to knowledge to model themselves after the virtuous rather than the corrupt, I have sent you this discourse as a gift. It serves as evidence of my goodwill toward you and as a token of my friendship for Hipponicus. It is only fitting that a son should inherit not only his father's estate but also his friendships. I also observe that fortune is favoring us, and the current circumstances align with our intentions. You have a keen interest in education, and I am committed to providing it. You are ready for philosophy, and I guide students in philosophical pursuits. Those who craft persuasive speeches aimed at their friends are undoubtedly involved in a commendable pursuit. However, they do not immerse themselves in the most crucial aspect of philosophy. On the contrary, those who guide the young not in the ways of honing oratory skills but in how to attain a reputation for sound character provide a more significant service to their listeners. While the former encourages proficiency in speech, the latter enhances their moral behavior. Therefore, I haven't created a motivational exercise but have penned a moral treatise. I'm going to advise you on the aspirations young men should have, the actions they should avoid, the kind of people they should associate with, and how they should lead their lives. Only those who have traversed this path in life have genuinely been able to attain virtue, a possession that is the grandest and most enduring in the world. Beauty diminishes with time or fades due to illness, wealth often fosters vice instead of noble character, and strength, when lacking wisdom, can harm more than help. While it enhances the bodies of those who cultivate it, it obscures the care of the soul. Virtue, on the other hand, growing within our hearts without impurity, is the one possession that stays with us in old age. It surpasses riches, is more useful than high birth, makes the impossible possible, faces fear with fortitude, and views sloth as disgraceful and toil as honorable. This is evident in the labors of Heracles and the exploits of Theseus, whose excellent character has left an indelible mark of glory on their achievements, immune to the eroding effects of endless time. If you reflect on your father's principles, you'll find a noble example within your own family supporting what I'm advising you. He didn't diminish the value of virtue nor lead a life of idleness. Instead, he worked hard to train his body and faced dangers with his spirit. His love for wealth wasn't excessive. Although he enjoyed the good things available to him as a mortal, he managed his possessions with the care one might extend if a mortal. His way of living wasn't miserly, he appreciated beauty, lived generously, and was open-handed with his friends. He held those devoted to him in higher regard than blood relatives because he believed that in matters of companionship, nature is a superior guide to convention, character outweighs kinship, and freedom of choice is more valuable than compulsion. Time constraints prevent a detailed account of all your father's activities, I'll reserve that for another occasion. However, I've provided a glimpse into the character of Hipponicus. I encourage you to model your life after his example, considering his conduct as your guiding principle. Strive to imitate and emulate your father's virtue. It would be a shame for children not to imitate the noble among their ancestors when painters depict the beautiful among animals. You should feel duty-bound, like an athlete training against competitors, to contemplate how you can match your father's way of life. This disposition of the mind is only possible when infused with numerous noble maxims. Just as the body develops through appropriate exercises, the soul develops through moral precepts. I'll succinctly outline the practices I believe will propel you toward virtue and garner the highest esteem from others. First and foremost, demonstrate devotion to the gods, not just through sacrificial rituals but also by fulfilling your vows. Sacrificing signifies material prosperity, while keeping vows reflects a noble character. Pay homage to divine power consistently, especially during public worship, to be known for both honoring the gods and adhering to the laws. Treat your parents with the same respect you wish for from your children. Focus on maintaining your body's health rather than just strength through exercises. Success in this regard comes when you stop exerting yourself while you still have the energy. Avoid excessive and raucous laughter, and steer clear of presumptuous speech. The former is folly, and the latter is madness. Never consider honorable even to mention anything that is shameful to do. Cultivate a thoughtful expression rather than a stern one. The former suggests intelligence, while the latter may imply stubbornness. Adorn yourself with modesty, justice, and self-control, as these virtues are universally recognized to temper the character of the young. Don't expect to conceal any shameful actions you've committed, even if hidden from others, your conscience will know. Fear the gods, honor your parents, respect your friends, and obey the laws. Seek pleasures with a good reputation, as pleasure accompanied by honor is the best, but pleasure without honor is the worst. Protect yourself against accusations, even false ones, as people are often ignorant of the truth and only consider reputation. Act as if the entire world were watching your every move, as hidden deeds have a way of coming to light. Earn the respect of others by avoiding actions you would criticize in others. If you love knowledge, you'll become a master of it. Preserve what you've learned through practice, and continually seek to expand your knowledge. It's as blameworthy to hear a valuable saying and not understand it as it is to refuse a good gift from friends. Use your leisure time to cultivate a keen ear for discourse, making it easier to grasp what others have struggled to comprehend. Believe that many principles are more valuable than great wealth. Wealth diminishes quickly, but principles endure throughout time. Wisdom is the only possession that remains imperishable. Don't hesitate to undertake long journeys to learn from those who offer valuable instruction. It would be a shame for the youth not to endure journeys to enhance their understanding, especially when merchants traverse vast seas to increase their wealth. Be polite and friendly in your interactions. It's courteous to greet those you encounter and to engage in friendly conversation. Be pleasant to everyone, but focus on building relationships with the best individuals, avoiding animosity from the former and gaining the friendship of the latter. Keep conversations varied and avoid excessive talk on the same subject, as people can grow weary. Challenge yourself with self-imposed hardships to build resilience for challenges imposed by others. Practice self-control, especially in areas where it's shameful for the soul to be controlled, such as greed, anger, indulgence, and avoidance of discomfort. Exercise self-control by valuing actions that enhance your reputation rather than accumulating wealth. Managing your temper as you'd expect others to handle your offenses, regulating pleasures to avoid being enslaved by desires, and reflecting on the misfortunes of others during your own troubles to maintain a human perspective. Safeguard a entrusted secret more diligently than money in your care, as honorable individuals should prioritize preserving their integrity over keeping an oath. Be cautious and skeptical of untrustworthy individuals just as much as you place trust in the good. Keep matters intended to be confidential to yourself, only revealing them when mutually beneficial for both the speaker and listener to prevent disclosure. Reserve taking oaths for specific reasons, such as clearing oneself of dishonorable accusations or protecting friends from significant dangers. Avoid swearing on the gods, even when intending an honest oath about money matters, to prevent suspicions of both perjury and greed. Before forming a friendship, assess how an individual has treated their past friends, as their treatment of you may mirror that. Take your time in developing friendships, but once established, work towards making them enduring, as frequent changes in associates are as undesirable as having no friends at all. Test your friends without causing harm to yourself and be willing to undergo tests in return. You can achieve this by pretending to be in need when you lack nothing. Confide in them about non-secret matters as if they were secrets to gauge their character better. Assess your friends through life's hardships and shared perils, revealing their true nature in adversity, just as gold is tested in fire. Provide assistance to your friends proactively, without waiting for them to ask for help at critical moments. Find it equally disgraceful to be surpassed by enemies in causing harm and by friends in performing acts of kindness. Include not only those who express sympathy during your difficult times in your circle but also those who don't show envy during your good fortune, as some may sympathize in adversity but envy in prosperity. Keep your absent friends in your conversations with those around you, signaling that you remember them, expecting the same when they are absent. When it comes to fashion, aim to be a man of taste, not an excessive follower of trends. The distinguished man is marked by elegance, while excessive trend followers are characterized by overindulgence. Don't focus excessively on accumulating wealth, but rather on enjoying what you have moderately. Disdain those who strive for riches but lack the ability to use them, akin to an inept horseman with a splendid mount. View money as both a possession and a tool. It is valuable to those who know how to derive pleasure from it but merely a possession for those who can only accumulate it. Value your possessions for their utility, both as a means to cope with significant losses and to assist a deserving friend in times of distress. However, in your general life, appreciate your possessions in moderation, not in excess. Be content with your current situation, yet aspire to improve it. Avoid mocking others for their misfortunes, as fate is universal, and the future remains unseen for everyone. Direct your favors towards the virtuous, as a treasury of gratitude is built in the heart of an upright person. If you extend your assistance to the unscrupulous, you'll experience the same result as those who feed stray dogs. These dogs growl at both their benefactors and passing strangers. Similarly, base individuals mistreat those who help them and those who harm them alike. Reject flatterers just as you would avoid deceivers, as both, when trusted, harm those who place trust in them. If you include in your circle those who seek your favor for selfish motives, your life will lack friends who are willing to risk your displeasure for the sake of the highest good. Be approachable in your interactions with others and never adopt a haughty demeanor. Arrogance is difficult even for slaves to endure, but when individuals are affable, everyone is willing to tolerate their ways. However, to be affable, avoid being quarrelsome, hard to please, or always insistent on having your way. Refrain from harshly opposing the angry moods of your associates, even if their anger is unjustified. Instead, yield to them when they are in the heat of passion and offer guidance when their anger has subsided. Avoid being serious when the situation calls for lightheartedness and vice versa, as being unseasonable is always offensive. Do not bestow favors in a grudging manner, unlike the majority who, when obliged to help their friends, do so offensively. Steer clear of fault-finding, which is tiresome, and avoid being overly critical, which is irritating. If possible, avoid drinking parties altogether. However, if you find yourself in such a situation, make a point to leave before becoming intoxicated. When the mind is impaired by alcohol, it's akin to chariots without drivers, careening in disarray. Just as these chariots veer wildly when lacking guidance, the soul stumbles when the intellect is compromised. Cultivate the mindset of an immortal by maintaining a lofty soul, but also embrace the pleasures of a mortal by enjoying the good things you possess in moderation. Recognize the value of education is vastly superior to ignorance. While generally, vice brings some form of gain, boorish behavior is a vice that actually penalizes its practitioners. Those who exhibit boorishness often face consequences for the offensive words they speak. When you aim to befriend someone, speak favorably about them to those who are likely to share those sentiments. Praise serves as the foundation of friendship, just as criticism lays the groundwork for enmity. In your decision-making, let past experiences guide your future choices. The unknown can be better understood by referencing the known. Take your time in deliberation but act promptly on your decisions. Recognize that, just as good fortune is the best gift from the gods, good judgment is the best quality within ourselves. When there's something you're hesitant to discuss openly but want to seek advice from friends, present it as if it were someone else's matter. This approach allows you to gather opinions without revealing your own situation. Before seeking counsel from anyone, assess how well they've managed their own affairs. Someone who has demonstrated poor judgment in their own matters is unlikely to provide wise advice about others' concerns. The most compelling motivation for careful consideration is witnessing the consequences of neglecting it. We are most attentive to our health when we remember the suffering that arises from illness. Model yourself after the character of kings and closely adhere to their ways. By doing so, you will be perceived as approving and emulating them, earning greater esteem from the public and a more secure hold on royal favor. Obey the laws established by kings, but regard their way of life as your supreme guide. Just as a citizen in a democracy must court the favor of the masses, one under a monarchy should show reverence to the king. When in a position of authority, avoid appointing unworthy individuals to your administration, as any mistakes they make will reflect on you. Retreat from your public responsibilities not with increased wealth, but with a higher regard from the people, as the praise of the populace is more valuable than numerous possessions. Never lend support or defend an unjust cause, as people will suspect that you engage in the very actions you assist others in carrying out. Place yourself in a position where you have the power to exploit, but refrain when you receive your fair share. This way, people will believe that your pursuit of justice is driven by a sense of fairness, not weakness. Choose honest poverty over unjust wealth, as justice holds greater value than riches. While riches benefit us only in our lifetime, justice brings us glory even after death. Unlike riches, which can be shared by the unjust, justice is a realm where the wicked have no part. Avoid emulating those who seek gain through injustice and align yourself with those who have suffered loss in the cause of justice. Even if the just have no other advantage over the unjust, they at least surpass them in their lofty aspirations. Pay careful attention to all aspects of your life, with a particular focus on cultivating your intellect. The most significant thing in a small package is a sound mind within a human body. Strive to be both a lover of toil with your body and a lover of wisdom with your soul. This way, you'll possess the strength to carry out your resolutions and the intelligence to foresee what is beneficial for you. Always weigh your words before speaking, as many find their tongues racing ahead of their thoughts. Limit your speech to 2 occasions, when you thoroughly understand the subject and when compelled to speak. In these situations, speech is preferable to silence, otherwise, it's better to stay silent. Acknowledge the impermanence of all things in human life. This perspective will prevent excessive elation during prosperous times and undue sorrow in adversity. Celebrate your successes in moderation and handle your troubles with restraint. Keep your emotions guarded, for it is odd to conceal one's treasures at home while openly displaying personal feelings to the world. Be more cautious about avoiding criticism than danger, as the wicked may fear the end of life, but good individuals should fear disgrace while alive. Strive to live securely, but if you ever find yourself in the midst of battle, aim to preserve your life honorably, not with shame. Death is the inevitable fate for all, but dying nobly is the special honor reserved for the virtuous. Don't be surprised if some of the advice doesn't seem directly applicable to your current age. I'm aware of this, and I intentionally chose to include guidance not only for your present life but also for the years ahead. You may not fully grasp the relevance now, but as time passes, you'll see how these precepts apply. My aim is to provide you with enduring counsel so that you won't need to seek wisdom elsewhere. I would greatly appreciate it if my belief in you proves true, and I sincerely hope that the gods do not disappoint me in that regard. It's evident that most people tend to seek the company of friends who share in their indulgences rather than those who offer advice, just as they prefer the most enjoyable food over the most nutritious. However, it seems to me that you hold a different perspective, judging by the dedication you show in your overall education. When one sets the highest standards for their behavior, they likely value those who encourage virtue in their interactions. Above all, you would be inspired to pursue noble deeds if you recognize that true pleasure stems most from them. While laziness and excessive desires lead to pain following pleasure, devoted effort in the pursuit of virtue and self-discipline in life management consistently bring about pure and enduring delights. In the former case, pain follows pleasure, while in the latter, pleasure follows pain. We are often more concerned with the outcomes than the beginnings of our tasks, as most of our actions in life are driven not by the activities themselves but by the results they produce. Keep in mind that while those of lower character may be excused for acting without principles, as their lives have been built upon such a foundation, the virtuous must not neglect virtue without inviting criticism from various quarters. People generally have less contempt for those who do wrong than for those who claim to be respectable but, in reality, are no better than the average person. This judgment is justified because, when we condemn those who deceive us with words alone, it's evident that individuals who consistently betray their promises throughout their lives are even more contemptible. We would be correct in asserting that such individuals not only harm themselves but also betray their good fortune. Fortune bestows upon them wealth, reputation, and friends, but they, in turn, prove themselves unworthy of the blessings within their reach. And if we dare to speculate on the thoughts of the gods, it appears that they have clearly indicated their disposition toward the good and the base among humans, particularly in their treatment of their closest kin. Zeus, according to myths accepted by all, was the father of Heracles and Tantalus. He granted immortality to Heracles due to his virtue, while inflicting severe punishments on Tantalus because of his wicked character. With these examples in mind, you should strive for nobility of character. Not only should you adhere to my advice, but you should also explore the wisdom found in the works of poets and learn valuable lessons from other wise individuals. Just as a bee collects nectar from various flowers, those aspiring to cultivate their minds should not leave any source of knowledge untapped. Through such efforts, they may, albeit with difficulty, overcome the limitations of their innate qualities.